Good afternoon. This is Jonathan Young from Advanced Racking. We'll pause for just a minute or two to make sure that everyone has had a chance to log in, and then we'll get started. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hopefully everyone's logged in and can see our screen okay. This is a presentation of Advanced Racking with PV Complete. And today we want to give you an update on Advanced Racking's expanded product offering. And more exciting, we want to provide a demonstration of the TRP design tool. We created this tool with the help of PV Complete. And with me is Olivia McShay, the head of sales and marketing at PV Complete.
Hi, everyone.
I'm Jonathan Young, the general manager at Advanced Racking. And we'll start by going through a few slides. And we'll try to get through these somewhat quickly because the more important part of the presentation is really the design tool and some of its functionality. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I apologize, I'm just kind of coming off a cold, so hopefully I'm speaking clearly enough. Some brief history on Advanced Racking and HB Solar. HB Solar is our Canadian division. It was founded in 2009 in Toronto by Eric Stevenson and Ingo Wolford. Their focus is the Canadian market. Advanced Racking, the U.S. division, is headquartered out of Virginia, and we focus on the U.S. and Latin American markets. Our manufacturing is located in Canada, and then we have a warehouse in Virginia. The total roof platform is our main rooftop offering, and it is a platform that is aimed at serving all roof types, be it a ballasted system or a 10-degree standing seam, with the same hardware and the same basic design. The nice part of the TRP is that there is nothing too revolutionary about it. In particular, the thing that maybe makes it a little different or unique is that we have all the components from standing seam clamps to ballasted connection hardware. We have all the attachment hardware along with the rails and clamps. So that gives us a high level of engineering and ability to create unique designs, but also have a full offering, all using the same hardware. We've done multiple wind tunnel tests testing with roofing companies and fastener manufacturers. We've been UL certified, and we have a professional engineer on staff, and the engineering and the support process is something we're very proud of, and we work hard to satisfy our clients and their projects. A quick review of the rooftop. Vice rack is a tilt system on low slope metal. Block mount is our tilt system on low slope non-metal. We will use block mount, and we'll see this in a moment. We will use block mount on fully attached solutions, maybe in Mexico on a concrete roof, or on a 10-story building in New Jersey. They want to fully attach. Sky rack is our flush mount. That flush mount applies to exposed fastener or corrugated metal roofs, to shingle, and to standing seam. We also make our own asphalt shingle flash guard. And bridge rail is a unique product, a rail-free system that we use on, we call exposed fastener, but some people call it corrugated, some people call it screw down, but we'll see a little more detail on that. Metal roofs is one of our biggest segments. We do a lot of, as you can see in these pictures, we have the ability not only to do a flush mount or a tilt system, but also to orient modules south. We can skew them across the building. So the metal segment of standing seam and exposed fastener roofs is something that is really strong for us. We have a great validation background. And if you have any projects, we'll be glad to look at them. This is simply a quick case study, or really some feedback we received from a project at the San Diego airport. This slide is showing the bridge rail. We use this product, I don't think there's a picture here, but we use this product in the application of a rail-free. So it's a flush mount system. But we also use this as a base for a tilt system. So if you were trying to orient modules south and you had a east-west building, we can use this as a base and tilt up the upper layer with a rail. And there are details of this on the website. Ballasted, we have several options within our ballasted system. It is based on the block mount 2. We do a high density with a variable interrow. This makes it a very flexible product design. It works well on obstacles. We also have some clients who may want a 3-degree tilt or a 5-degree tilt, but they possibly want a 10-inch interrow based on their project's requirements. Or maybe they need a 5-degree tilt, but they want to stretch it out in certain areas of the roof because that portion of the roof may not have the same structural capacity. So the product fully supports the module, and by its design, it's very flexible. Excuse me. It is also UL listed and fire tested. This was some feedback on a project we did, a 500 kW. The client was needing to really pack the modules on the rooftop for their end users system to achieve their end users goals. They needed to really pack the modules on the rooftop. They also were in higher snow load, and so they did not want to have any corner clamping. All of our systems fully support the module. And we can do a landscape orientation. Most of the time we promote a portrait orientation. It does provide a better price point. This is a variation of our block mount system. you'll notice there aren't any blocks. In the last 6 months to a year, we've seen a real spike in demand for fully attached systems. I believe as the anchors, the attachment hardware has had more chance to interact with roofing companies, and they have done more validation work, and end users have gotten more comfortable. There seems to be a real increase in fully attached systems, and with our offering, we have different rail options, so we really have the ability to extend the span, maybe as much as 14 to 16 feet between anchors. So there's a lot of flexibility here, and there can be a lot of advantages. The Sky Rack is our flush mount. You'll see it's in a standing seam application on the bottom right hand here, and then on a shingle application in the top right. We do make our own flashing system. It's all of our hardware is available in a black or mill finish. Our bond aid is a floating splice. You can see from the diagram in the bottom left corner. The product ships with a bonding washer, a grounding weeb pre-attached. So there is not any requirement to tech screw into your rail or to make any adjustments. It comes pre-assembled and ready to install. The hex screw also serves as a spacer. So this product helps with thermal expansion and contraction. This is highlighting a project from Cape Cod. I think we may have done in 2016, 2017, that used our flashing in our rail system. It was engineered to be on the coast, and the installer was very happy with the product. This is our residential ground mount. It's called the Express GM. This system uses the same hardware as our rooftop. So it's very flexible. It's very easy to install. There are no special tools, no heavy machinery. This is really aimed at small systems from a few kW to maybe 20 or 30 kW. But it's very flexible and easy to install. We also have our Express GM commercial system. The commercial product is aimed at projects from maybe 50 kW to several megawatts. It is a single post system. It does have some flexibility built into it as far as the brackets and the mounting hardware, so that there is some adjustment. It also features a longer pile, so you can deal with more slope variance, more variation in your slope, and also while still making sure that you have significant embedment. There are also helical options, and it's a very simple product, in line with our offering. Here you see a couple of the brackets that demonstrate some of the flexibility that you have horizontally and vertically. There is also a pre-assembly practice that we've learned from our installers that really accelerates the installation and lets them connect the modules to the purlins on the ground. And then, as you can see in this photo, the Bobcat will essentially let you slide the cassettes onto the tilt arms. So it's a very efficient install. We do offer installation services on our ground mount and carport and rooftop products. Speaking of carports, this is one of our newest products, and something that's very exciting for us We designed this product to be engineered for higher wind speeds and higher snow loads. We just finished in the last week or so a project at the Jamaican airport. It was designed for 167 mile per hour wind. So this system is made to go into higher snow loads and higher wind speeds and still maintain good spans. There are different options and different models. You may have noticed the previous image was of a V, an east-west V. Here at the top right hand of our screen, we see an image that's of a north foundation. And in the bottom, we see a dual monoslope. In most conditions, this rendering, I just noticed does not show it, but in most conditions, we actually are able to get 3 parking spaces wide. I noticed that this shows 2. And then there are accessories. We offer, of course, snow guard solutions. We can provide downspouts and gutters. There are finish options, a prime finish option, so it could be painted on site. And then one of the ones that has really, I think, been very helpful from a client standpoint is weather seal gaskets. So we designed the system to work with gaskets. So as you're installing the modules, you actually can install an EPDM gasket. And this is going to prevent most all of the moisture or rain from dripping through. It is not 100% waterproof, but if you are looking for a good option to reduce the moisture, the rain coming through the canopy, this is very cost effective and easy to put in. On our website, we're going to see here in a minute, actually, Olivia is going to give us a demonstration, but you do have the TRP design tool you can use to create your own system. There are downloads of all the data sheets and install manuals. Within each product page, rooftop, carport, ground mount, there is an online request form that you can use to submit your details to our support team. We do have a full video series. There is a Total Roof Platform video series that highlights the ease of the system, but particularly putting the system on many different roof types. We also offer training. We will come to job sites and train your crew. And then we have installation services. So with that, I want to turn it over to Olivia so she can give us a demonstration of the TRP design tool.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. So a little bit of a background about PV Complete. We enable seamless solar design from concept to construction, and we have 2 platforms, one of which is PV Sketch, which is a web-based platform, and it allows you to intuitively and easily create layouts and sales proposals for residential through large commercial projects. And we also have PV CAD, which is the first and only CAD for solar, and this is much more robust, built for the solar engineer, and allows you to create a complete permit or construction plan. So today, the TRP Advanced Racking Design Tool that we're going to see today, this is powered by PV Sketch, so it comes with a lot of the functionalities you would find with PV Sketch, but it's geared specifically towards advanced racking. So we worked very closely together to make sure that all that flexibility that Jonathan was talking about in advanced racking products is also, in our design tools, you're able to design with those considerations. So that being said, just going to jump in here. So when we open up the design tool, it's going to look something like this. It's going to prompt you for your address. And we picked a spot in Virginia here. Here's our building.
This is actually our warehouse.
Yeah, just to give you a real life example. And the first thing we're going to do is trace out the roof here. So our tools are in the top left-hand corner. Just pick the line tool and simply draw out the roof shape here. And the tool immediately recognizes that this is a roof. You can choose for it to be an obstruction there on the right-hand side, but it recognizes most likely by the dimensions that you are drawing a roof. The other really great aspect of the design tool, none of us are artists here, so when we draw the shape, the PV sketch software recognizes that you're actually trying to draw a square and will square and align all of the sides so they're perfectly parallel and 90-degree angles. We're going to use that same tool to trace out some obstructions on the roof. Same thing, it's going to square it right up for us. And it recognizes this is most likely an obstruction because it's smaller and on top of a roof, and you can tell the different colors there, so it's easy to tell when you're looking at a layout. And I'm going to take that shape, I just copied it, and now I'm going to paste it. And now we have double. Everything within PV Sketch you can copy and paste it, so that goes for rooftops, modules, obstructions. So if you have a very symmetrical roof that you're working with, it makes it really easy. Next is we're going to set some of the parameters. So most importantly is azimuth here. So you can see I select the roof, click this snap button, and identify the edge we want it to align with. And by simply clicking that edge, it auto-calculates the rooftop for me. You can also manually put in the azimuth itself, but this is a really easy way if you don't have those numbers off the top of your head. We'll put in the slope as 10 degrees. It's a pretty low sloped roof here, and give it roughly a height of 20 feet. You can put setbacks in here as well. So I'm just putting in a 24-inch setback as an example, but obviously you're going to put it into your local codes. I think a lot of areas have a 3-foot setback regulation for fire codes. Purlin spacing, going to put in 24 inches here, but again, if it's a larger commercial, sometimes it's more commonly 5 or 6 feet, so you can put that in as well. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other rooftop here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the parameters for my obstructions. What's really great about this advanced racking tool is that once you put in the height of your obstructions, it automatically calculates all of the shading for that obstruction. So it makes it really easy to recognize where you should not be placing modules. You can see here when I zoom in, that gray outline, that's the full shading of the structure. And you'll notice it overlays and goes past the shading that's actually there in the image, and that's because we're modeling the full range of shade, just not one time and moment. So it really gives you a full view and idea of where shading could possibly be at any moment. So now that we have our roof and obstructions, we're going to select a module. I'm just going to use a Jinko commercial module here. Our database is pretty extensive. And if you don't see it there, we're always happy to add in the latest and greatest modules to the database. It usually takes us about 24 hours to do that, so don't be scared if it's not there, but the majority of it is. Now we're going to choose our exposed fastener with the 10-degree tilt here, and we're going to select landscape. Any inverter that you're using, you can input there. And when we click generate system, there's 2 buttons. I just use the top one in the right corner. Going to think about it for a second, and then populate the whole roof. And you'll notice it avoided putting modules where any of our shade, setback, or obstructions were. All of these modules are placed per the specific specification for advanced racking exposed fastener. And you'll see that the column spacing and the inter-row spacing, the column spacing and tilt are grayed out because that's specific to the racking model we're using, but that inter-row spacing is variable per what Jonathan was talking about. So here I'm changing it to 60 inches, and we can see it's now modeled with a different inter-row spacing. So it's really easy to model that flexibility that Jonathan was talking about. So another great thing is that if you come back and realize, oh, I want to add in a few other things I missed, you can hide those modules and draw in a few more obstructions here. So I'm just using the circle tool to add in a few vents over in this corner to better model how the modules work around our design. And again, as I mentioned, you can do copy and paste. So if I were to make an obstruction and give it parameters and then copy it, those parameters would copy over for every obstruction. In this case, because they're different sizes, I just did it separately. And we're just going to give them, you know, all a height of 1 foot. And again, you see those shadows popping up for each obstruction. And you'll notice they're not perfect kind of triangles coming off of them because the shade also accounts for the roof slope it's on. So it's extremely specific. And the calculations are per the exact shape, height, size, location. All of that's accounted for. Last few here. Because they're so small, I just left it with a setback of 0. So we'll see that right now our modules are laid over those obstructions, and when we regenerate, it's going to now identify that those obstructions are newly placed, and it will not put modules there. And another great thing to think about is that if you're doing a large commercial system like this, if you want to integrate pathways, you can just use obstructions to do that. So you would just draw a square or a line, and it will avoid putting modules there. So here, when I select the modules in yellow, I can copy them and paste them. And when they're selected, I can also move them around so you can manipulate the modules after they've been laid out and place those and connect. And this allows you to override the shade. So if you decide you don't really care if those 3 modules are in a bit of shading, you can override that and manually place modules. So another really important factor to note here is that you can mix and match our racking options. So this is just a brief example that I'm giving, but we're gonna say, you know, on the west side, we're gonna get more sun, so we want a denser layout here. So I've changed the inter-row spacing, but before I clicked generate, I selected that one roof. And so now we see that we have a mixed and matched option of inter-row spacing. My more west facing has a 30 inch-row spacing, and my east facing has a 60 inch-row spacing. And this rule applies to using different kinds of racking makes as well. So if you want to do a flat roof on one side, but it's a sloped roof on another, you can mix and match advanced racking products as well. Another way to compare and contrast is to create versions. So I'm creating a second version here. I'm going to give it different equipment. If I were to select that copy inputs, it would give me a carbon copy of my first version, but without selecting that, it gives me a blank new slate. Obstructions and roofs always carry over from version to version. So all that we're playing with here are the equipment and layout. So I'm giving it a different module. I've selected a different advanced racking product, their standing seam metal flush racking system. And it's in portrait this time, which is often more cost effective and more common for advanced racking. So this might be a little bit more realistic. And this is a huge roof, and I didn't put any walk paths in, so this is a very dense solar system here. But you can see it looks completely different per my specification, so it really is customized to the racking and layout that you're creating. And I changed the inter-row spacing here just to be a bit more spaced out with 3 inches. So there's my layout. And this is a really valuable feature to have, because if you think about it, oftentimes we're going back and forth, what's the most effective way to create our layout? On large commercial systems like this, it can be extremely time-consuming and tedious to remodel an entire project. But with this advanced racking design tool, you can easily create new versions. You don't have to re-render the rooftop, and you can then compare and contrast your production and system size in this bottom left-hand corner here. So it's a really valuable tool. So there we are, back to version 1, just to show that it's still there. And then once we've created our design, there's a few things we can do with it. So in the reports section, We see our image of the design, which is just a JPEG with the layout, our export to PVCAD, which I was talking about, our engineering platform, hourly energy, which comes direct from PV watts, and then also the sales report. So this gives you a concrete piece of paper and design that you can hand to your customer or your coworkers if you're trying to disperse layout ideas. It's going to ask you some questions about the versions, company. Click next. And then it's going to give us a PDF of our report here. And these reports are customizable as well. So see where it says PV Complete there. We can actually include your own company name, your own company logo even. Gives us some production information, our layout, some feel-good environmental facts about our project, and then our detail sheet. So these are all the parameters that we input into the system. It's pretty straightforward and simple, but it's an easy way just to transfer that layout information from your design in your head onto the next person. Now, this is the really impressive part. We can give you a full bill of materials here. So that Get BOM button up there, we're going to input some more information about our preferred rail finish and length, our attachment spacing, mounts, some basic wind and snow information. And after we submit that, it's going to spit out to us a full bill of materials per the specs that we put in. When we open this, it looks a lot like the sales report, but we'll see at the bottom page, it gives us project details instead of the specs. And then right here is our full bill of materials. And it breaks it out piece by piece. So it's very specific. It also provides you the MSRP price. So it gives you a really good indicator for your customers of what upfront cost of that full racking system will be. And it's something you can also build off of when you're considering, your construction plans and full bill of materials to actually get ready to install the project. And it happens in a few seconds, which is also completely invaluable, especially if you're playing with various versions. It's easy to compare and contrast costs of the system as well. So like we talked about, portrait might get you a more cost-effective system than landscape, and you can see that in real time through the design tool. So here we're going to go to version 2, and now we're going to download the bill of materials for the second version. It's going to ask us for that same information. I'm going to leave a different rail length and rail type here, just for variation's sake. When we open it up and go down to our full bill of materials, you can see it's a completely different list, and it is indeed applicable for that standing seam system. So again, super specific, very intuitive, very quick. So that's kind of the front to end, what it looks like to create a full project in advanced racking. Obviously, there's a lot more possibilities depending on what actual racking type you're using and any intricacies that you're considering, as Jonathan was saying, inter-row spacing, different modules. But this should give you a taste of those possibilities and how easy it really is to play with your design, even if it is a large commercial project, and can put something, whether it's a sales proposal or bill of materials directly into your hands within minutes. And we worked very closely with Advanced Racking. We're super excited that we're now able to help them model more closely their racking products, and we're excited to see what the feedback is and what people think of it, and we hope that it makes your life a little bit easier when you're designing those commercial systems. Jonathan, did we have a few questions that we could answer now?
Yes. Thank you, Olivia. So Olivia was, just a quick note, Olivia was using one site for the sake of time and, trying to keep everyone moving and let you all get back to your busy lives. Olivia was using one site to demonstrate a lot of different product applications. And so, I think it did show some of the flexibility, but, it also was only one site, so not everyone was, was the right application. If there are any questions, those are things, we're glad to help you with.
Yes, certainly.
And so now, so if you have questions in general, we are taking them now. You can type them in. And then also, please go to our websites, advancedracking.com in the U.S., hbsolar.ca in Canada, and pvcomplete.com. There's full contact information and a lot of support features. So to get into some of the questions here, one of the first questions was regarding the thermal expansion. So we touched briefly on the Bond Aid product. If I can, so let me just jump over to this. So hopefully you can see my screen now. So this product, the way this works is that you would engage it fully. You would slide it into your rail that is connected, and then you're going to bring your other rail over and slide them together. And what you want to do is you want to jam them against that hex screw, and then we actually back them out roughly about 1/4 inch on each side. And the reason we do that is so that as this system thermally expands and contracts, it has some movement in it. We recommend roughly every 18 modules. If you had a run of 60 modules, roughly a row of 60 modules, roughly every 18 modules, we believe as a best practice for the modules, for the rooftop, for the PV system, that you should put a hard brake in. And the Bond Aid floating splice, one, makes it very easy to do and quick, but secondly, does allow for some of that movement. And this product was certified to UL 2703. Next question, does advanced racking offer engineering? Yes. Right now, engineering is not, there is some, we are working with PV Complete to hopefully launch a phase 2 that would actually incorporate the engineering, but we do have a full engineering offering. We do offer PE design packets. We have span tables. We have stamps for all the states. So it is one of the things that we really pride ourselves on. We have a question here. What is the difference between PVCAD and PV Sketch? Olivia, you want to?
Yeah, definitely. So I think I briefly touched on it in the beginning, but PV Sketch is really geared towards all solar professionals and salespeople. It gives you, like we mentioned, that sales proposal and a bill of materials if you'd like. PVCAD, as I mentioned, is the first and only CAD for solar. It's in the AutoCAD environment directly. So it really is geared towards people that are first and foremost familiar with AutoCAD, and past that, people that are looking for a lot more robust capabilities. So within PVCAD, you can do things like automatic stringing, automatic rendering of a single line diagram, creating a full permit package, things like this. So it requires at least a functional understanding of AutoCAD to start, and then past that, a need and desire to do the electrical side of your project as well as full permit sets. That being said, something to note with the advanced racking tool that we just saw is that PVCAD link that was in our report, if you copy and paste that link directly into PVCAD, it's going to transfer your entire project and layout from the tool directly into that AutoCAD space. So if you are someone looking to build full permit sets and do the electrical side of your project, I recommend you check it out. We have demos weekly, and I'm happy to talk more of it at a separate time. But what I would say is that, when it imports, what it really does is save you time on re-rendering. It's solar specific, so even without an import, it allows you to save a lot of time on meticulous, tedious tasks such as rendering individual modules, spacing, things like that. All of advanced racking blocks are in there ready to go. And if you use it directly from the advanced racking tool, it saves even more time in the sense that your roof and modules already come pre-rendered and identified within the system. So it really is a time saver to make your work much more efficient and give you more time to actually engineer rather than rendering shapes in the AutoCAD environment. So that's kind of a quick and dirty of PVCAD, and obviously feel free to reach out to us at PV Complete if you'd like more information.
Thanks, Olivia. Yeah, some of our guys use PVCAD, so we have customers who will create designs, and then our guys can import that into PVCAD and finish working with it, and it's they really like the tool. So thanks for explaining that. We have a couple more questions here. Actually, we have several more questions, but I just want to try to get to a couple of them. I don't want to keep you too long. One of the questions is on pricing. It is pricing specific. It's a good question. We tailored this really more aimed at what I guess the easy way of saying is the retail price. So installers and EPCs, be confident that the price you see, or if you had a client or one of your end users go and use the tool, as we often do, they are not actually seeing your price. Accounts are assigned a discount based on their volumes and their usage and their relationship. Next question is, can this be used for ground mounts? So we have had clients use this for ground mounts because you can extend the inner row. So it can be useful to give your client a visual aid. It can be useful to start to understand annual production, but it's not right now tailored for a specific ground mount to generate a ground mount BOM. We hope in the future to expand the offering, but right now it is a rooftop focus.
Yeah, and just to build on that, in the advanced options, that's where you're going to find that inter-row and column spacing. So it's definitely possible to build a roof, outline your roof space, which is really your ground mount space, and give it custom inter-row column spacing to mimic what a ground mount would look like. But what Jonathan said, at this time we haven't yet integrated specifically ground mount racking build material specs.
We have a question, excuse me, regarding attachment hardware. So yes, advanced racking does offer the full array of attachment hardware. It's part of what makes a total roof platform unique. We hear some people say, oh, well, so-and-so, they make a rail and a clamp and you can use it on a flush mount or a tilt. And this is true. One of the things that I think makes the total roof platform unique is that we manufacture the attachment hardware. We also have the capacity data, so the validation and the engineering. So when you come to us, we would be able to engineer a system for you and provide you with a complete PE set, not a set that says, hey, here's the rail and clamps and the design, and you have to go over there and find that company's clamping specifications or that company's fastener specifications. We have that ability to do all that for you. So I think that's part of what makes us a little unique, is that we have standing seam clamps, we have fastener attachment hardware for exposed fastener or corrugated. We have different ballasted options, and it all works with the same system. So there's a high level of recycling and efficiency. Let's get one more quick question. We're right at 2:45. I always like to end these a little early. The source for climatic data, how does, Olivia, how does PV Complete pull its climatic data?
Yeah, so we're actually directly integrated, and you can see in the bottom left corner of that design tool has annual production. All of those numbers come from PV Watts, which is, as many of you know, an industry standard for production information for solar projects. PV Watts uses weather data that comes directly from NREL, the National Renewable Energy Lab. That data comes in two forms, TMY and TMY3. And the only difference between these two kinds of weather data is that TMY2 spans over a longer amount of time, and TMY3 is usually more current information. So depending on how you see weather data, you could consider either one to be more accurate. Typically, how our tool works is that it chooses the weather data source that's nearest to your project location, regardless if it's TMY3 or TMY2. And we've obviously checked it multiple times and manually put it into PV watts, and the same numbers come out. So pretty reliable industry standard numbers there with tested and reliable weather data.
Thanks, Olivia. Excuse me. So we would like to thank everyone for tuning in, and please go to the Advanced Racking website and PV Complete, and there will be a recording of this webinar available. Excuse me, and we'll make sure that those of you signed up get a copy of it. So once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Olivia.
Thanks, Jonathan.
All right, cheers. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.